Yes, it starts with BetOnline and it ended in the DMV yesterday. At least not the
Yes,
way we
Lord.
wanted it to end in the DMV. But I don't want you guys thinking we're Debbie Downers and we're saying that the season is over.
No, no.
That's not what we're saying. Because hey, the Bucks stunk it up yesterday as well, and so the Falcons just keep getting these reprieves. It's like everybody in the NFC South has 9 lives because
All
nobody
of them.
want to take control of the division. So yes, the Falcons had that opportunity to do that. Unfortunately, they did not. So they made the best number in the world, 1913, look really, really bad yesterday, and that really hurt my heart. But that said, I think it's when you dig into how they got to 1913, Jarvis, that is the most troubling. So you and I talked last week when we got the news that Taquan Graham and Kyle Pitts would both be going on IR, which meant they were going to be out a minimum of 4 weeks. And we agreed at that time that we felt like Taquan Graham was indeed the bigger loss, taking nothing away from Kyle Pitts, but TQ we felt like was going to be the one. And I honestly still feel like yesterday there were just points in time where I was like, wow, if TQ had been there, that would have been different. And Jarvis, that could be anything. That could
Right.
be rushing the passer. That could be helping to stop the run. And let me give you a basic one. That could be tackling.
Oh my goodness. Where do I begin?
Right.
When you think about like those losses, right? And we kind of talked about this on the hangout on Friday. But just it's
Mm-hmm.
about take the name out of the tight end position. Like take Kyle Pitts' name out, number 4 overall pick, unicorn, all that stuff. Take that out
Sure.
and just look at the production, just strictly from a number standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, I literally said, like, I think you can replace that. And
Yeah.
they were able to do that because Michael
Mm-hmm.
Pruitt was able to get a touchdown catch. He
Yes.
was wide open because those are
Mm-hmm.
guys who, with, like I said, taking away those names, they're not
Mm-hmm.
going to pay too much attention to them. Now, if that Kyle Pitts would have been in that spot, it probably would have been 1 or 2 guys over there, was sitting
Mm-hmm.
there lurking, wait for Marcus Mariota to throw that rock. But I
Right.
think that
Right.
when you flip it over to the defensive side, T, that's the thing
Mm-hmm.
that really hurts because when
Yeah.
you're talking about all the issues before AJ Terrell came back,
Mm-hmm.
they were having as far as just staying close to wide receivers. They just
Mm-hmm.
had so many
Yeah.
issues. But you
Yeah.
in this game, when Washington was dropping back to pass, you start to see a little pressure with on
Yes.
Katie and Grady Jarrett. They were starting to get in his face or at least move him off the spot to where he can
Yes.
rush a throw, because we knew
Mm-hmm.
that he wasn't going to, take off running with the
Right.
football. So and then you got the passing game kind of situated, and now like they just could not do anything when Brian Robinson was throwing the football, and they were running
Like,
the
yeah.
same exact like
Same.
we talk
Right.
about the Hawks, like
Right.
counter
Yeah.
lineman coming around. Like if a lineman goes that leaves you, more than likely there's one coming back. So how about you go in there and get involved and try to see if you can at least slow down the offensive lineman from turning
Yeah.
that corner. And I think that teams have been doing. I've been saying this. Adi Ogundeji, he
Mm-hmm.
does not need to be a starter, and
Yeah.
here's why: because teams have been doing the exact same thing, running the
Mm-hmm.
exact same type of plays, maybe different formation, but they are running the same exact type of stuff. And they're
Yeah.
coming at him, and they're coming at him, and they're cutting at
Mm-hmm.
him, and he's continued to play it the wrong way.
Right.
It just doesn't make any sense to me that this guy continues to play like that. And like I said, I like
Mm-hmm.
Adi. I got a chance to
Yeah.
talk to him coming into the season. But when you haven't continue to have the same issues, I
Yeah.
have to make a change if I'm the
Yeah.
defensive coordinator, T.
Yeah. Because you're seeing what on the flip side, what Arnold Ebiketie is able to do. And,
Right.
hopefully his injury yesterday won't be something that is long term because goodness knows Falcons don't need anything else coming their way, especially
No,
on the
not
defensive
that
side.
guy. Yeah.
Not right, especially not the guy
Not
who's
that one.
trending up
Right.
in a space where, like you said, you're just not getting enough. You're just not getting enough from you're not getting enough from Ade. You're really not getting enough from that core overall. But
Right.
just saying, but yeah, I agree with you. I think that it remains the same, that you could feel TQ, you could feel the loss of TQ as well. And I thought about this as well, when we look at the play, because that last play for the Falcons that sealed the game is probably the most talked about thing, not just here, by the way, but
Right.
nationally. There's been conversation about it as well. And You guys can probably hear that conversation even on our Locked On Sports Today show, because it's really one of the biggest topics. It's one of the trending topics, and it's one where we know it's not instant reaction, but we bet there is still reaction on it even today. So don't forget to, of course, check out after ATL Day Ones, check out Locked On Sports Today, because you can get that information. And of course, anything that looks like For the Culture is going to be in their take of the day, and you can get it there as well. But listen, just seeing that trending, Jarvis, the conversation is still very real about that last play and whether or not the loss in essence, and I want to kind of go all a few other places with, but let's start there. Was the loss more about the player who didn't make the play or the coach who didn't make the right call?
Wow. Oh man,
Yeah.
that's a very good question. Because here's the thing, my initial thoughts on it,
Mhm.
even when as the game was, like, looking at the Florida game leading up to that play, right
Mhm.
after the penalty, they get the first down and everything, and they run the RPO option where Mariota kept it, and they would lose 2 yards on the play.
Right.
Come back second down. I'm like, okay, my Washington doesn't have any timeouts, right?
Nope.
So, and they have all of theirs, which really didn't matter at that particular standpoint.
Mhm.
But I think that I literally said this to myself. I was like, Arthur Smith probably want to pass it right here, because here's why. Because like if you throw the football, it's an
Mhm.
incomplete pass. You probably make it safest pass. If it's not there, you throw it out the back of the end zone. And then you have two
Right.
plays. You have two
Yeah.
plays that you can run it in. You know what I'm saying? And if they stop you on those two plays, all right, kudos to you. Ball game. Y'all were better than us on this particular day, and you move on. And so
Mhm.
I can't really say that it was the wrong play call, because I get that line of thinking, right? Because I understand when we talking about Florida game, and because you don't want to get yourself in a situation where you're passing on fourth down.
Right.
That's never the thing when you have to go, because you have to go for it and everything, like, or on
Mhm.
third down when they know you have
Yeah.
to pass the ball.
True.
So
True.
that's
True.
the type of thing that I was kind of thinking about. So I understand it. So I think it might be more so maybe from an execution standpoint. I would lean more towards that, because
Okay.
I don't know, because as a
See
quarterback,
me
you're not
scratch
really
my
supposed to
head
be looking
like,
at
okay.
yeah, I mean, I don't, to be honest with you, T, like, because a quarterback's not really supposed to be looking at the rush, right? Because Cordell Patterson was open. Going back and looking at that play, he was open on that particular play. So I can't. I guess I'm kind of hedging my bets and not saying either one, but because I understand the line of thinking went from a coach standpoint, and then Mariota, I guess he rushed the pass. Maybe if I can critique it that much, maybe he rushed it, and then from a throwing lane standpoint, maybe should adjust his arm angle or whatever. If you want to get technical, but
Mhm.
I have no problem with the play call overall.
Okay. And I had a problem with it. I
Okay,
think for me, it was the timing of the play and the call itself. So I don't know that I would have necessarily called that. Now, granted, you have a situation where, the Falcons are first and goal because, hey, you put them right there on the two. Hey, that's your fault, Commanders, that you put them on the two. If
right,
you put me on the two and 5.8 yards per carry was what you averaged in the first half. You
yeah,
were only still down to 4.2 in the second half, but 4 yards a carry when you only got to go 2 yards. I'm just going to give that to you. I mean,
right,
you've got bruising backs. You also have a quarterback who can roll out on a bootleg.
yeah.
He can run.
Get him
So
out
you
on the
could have
edge,
done
yeah,
some. Yeah, you had some opportunities there. I just think it was a missed opportunity. I don't know that I trust Marcus Mariota to get the ball to where it needs to be in the middle of the end zone, where that whole defense, how was the Commanders defense able to collapse that quickly? By
mm,
the time that ball got to CP, and granted, I looked at it about 10 times. So
right,
I will give Marcus Mariota this, but I'm going to take it right back. That ball was tipped, but you shouldn't have thrown it that low. If you had
mm,
thrown it accurately and thrown it the way it was supposed to, it would never have been tipped. But that tip gave the Commanders defense about a half second to reset themselves, and they collapsed on CP.
yeah,
That's how Deron Payne was able to get that ball out, and Kendall Fuller was able to then be there to catch that ball, right? Other
right,
piece there, I looked back to see where Drake London was. And if Drake London had curled out as opposed to inside, and Marcus Mariota would have done just a fade into the end zone or thrown it on his shoulder where
mm,
only he can catch it, To me, that might be more viable because it was literally just your receiver and your defender.
Yeah.
Drake London is what, 6'5"?
Yeah.
I'm
Give
letting
or
dudes
take.
go up to catch that ball. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Give or
I'm
take.
letting the defender, and forgive me for not remembering who the DB was, but he ain't 6'5".
No. Yeah.
That's
He's a
all I'm
mismatch.
saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just feel like there were a couple of opportunities as opposed to me. I don't know about you guys, but I got triggered again because I felt like I was watching Patriots Seahawks all over again. I'm done.
Yeah, yeah, and that's the thing about it because and I understand your sentiment for sure. Like I don't disagree with it because Arthur Smith has always preached what? Hey, we're gonna run the football.
Yes,
That's what we're gonna
yes,
do.
yes.
And
And stop us if
that's
you
how
want to.
yeah, and stop us if you want to. Like, and we've prayed for these days, right?
Yeah,
Like when everybody in the stadium knows that you're gonna run the football and you're able to do it. They've been
yeah,
able to do that consistently throughout the
yes,
entire season. I guess I'm making the point against myself, but I understand it. I get it because
yes,
this is something that Arthur Smith has done a really good job of
yes.
establishing, right? He's establishing culture. Like, we're gonna come off the ball, we're gonna knock you off the ball. We don't care if
Mhm.
you want to run the football, and this is what we're gonna do. Because, like, if we're gonna question the play, what's up with this RPO quarterback keeps situation
Yeah.
and the shotgun? Like,
Right.
come on now, what's up with that? Like, I
Yes.
don't. And from the 2 yard line, like, if we're gonna
Yeah.
question play, that's what I would question. I was just like,
Yes.
come on, bro. Like,
Now that's
all
a
these
good
formations you've been running,
right.
they've been so
Yes.
successful,
And
and
actually,
you know what I mean? Go
Jarvis,
ahead, T.
hold that thought because I really want to get into that tomorrow. You
Okay.
guys come back because I got questions for Jarvis. I got thoughts about it because we want to get into, like you said, Jarvis, looking at each of those drives, if you will, including that last drive, and look at the
Mhm.
difference in the play calling. And had that not made a difference in what we saw overall. But again, Jarvis and I are going to keep digging into it tomorrow. We're going to get more into some of those kind of offensive miscues and kind of some of the things that we saw the defensive miscues as well.